And this engine has been familiar to me since the early 70s. And the engine is and still in the collection of Tom Stockton Sr. and Tom Stockton Jr. Wade Tom is over there, and he has started to make this possible. He asked if we'd like to have this on display here at the Coolspring Power Museum, and we said yes, we would. Now, you've got to set a stage, so bear with me. Remember, I'm an old school teacher, and I get diarrhea in the mouth. Daimler, in the early 90s, left auto, 1890s, because he was thinking high speed, Otto was thinking slow speed. And he wanted to develop something different in the direction that Otto was going. And he went into a design phase and was doing something that Otto had never done when he did what he did. When Nicholas came up with intake, compression, power and exhaust, where you were burning your fuel under compression, that was cutting-edge technology. It had never been done before. The Otto Langdon up there, which will be demonstrated next if you want to stay, doesn't do that. So up until 1876, and Nicholas Otto comes along and does suck, squash, bang, blow, you know, we didn't have the internal combustion engine as we knew it. This now takes the next stage. So this replica prototype represents what Daimler was trying to do in the laboratory on an experimental basis. Had never been done. Now, the original engine was lost in a factory fire in 1903. And they lost everything. They didn't lose the drawings. At some point, Daimler said, well, boy, we were the first. We ought to have a couple the first around. And they went back and reproduced from the original drawings 2 prototypes to use for advertising. But they cheated. They didn't make it right in this area, which is the surface carburetor, but they made it right here. So what you're seeing here is exactly right. What they had there looked right, but it didn't function right, and it couldn't function. Wayne will explain that. And then at some point in time, Tom Stockton Sr. happened to have an object that Daimler wanted. And Tom Sr. says, you can have, but I want one of those prototypes, replicas. They said, well, you can't have one. Well, you can't have what I have. Oh, well, maybe we could build another one. So from the original prints, the original thing, a 3rd prototype was built. And the one back then, the first one that got burnt in the fire, things looked the same, fabricated. Wayne's going to explain that. Now, when Wayne goes to start this, and this is Wayne Grenning, Woody Sims, and the gene pool to make Wayne happen, Wayne's dad, have worked on this to make this functional, because when it came, we knew it didn't function. And with Wayne's modeling expertise, I asked Wayne if he would be willing to take this project on, and in a weak moment he said yes. And if you watch what was going on the internet, it went on in experimentation and everything. So as he tries to start this is absolutely no different than it was in 1893 when they did this, and they didn't know for sure what was going to happen. This isn't going to be come over and roll it and it's going to go boom, 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 boom. No, he's got to get heat in a hot tube, first hot tube. successful. He has to take gasoline and bubble through gasoline to create vapors to suck into the engine to run on, because they didn't know you could atomize a liquid fuel in a Venturi yet. Two things that had never been done before. We just, we assumed this. But then they didn't. They had no idea. This was the Dark Ages. When they stepped up to this engine and the dead sweat in their knees were knocking, wonder if they're going to live through it or not, they didn't know. Well, if you watch the internet, when Wayne did his surface carburetor the first time, you'll notice it wasn't in his nice new shop. What was it, 400 miles outside the shop, in the backyard?
There's no bang.
You know, in case there was a bang and a fire, you know, that it was safe, because Wayne had to reinvent what they did back then, because there's no history and nothing running in this mechanism to do it. So as you sit here and watch the start procedure and what's going through, you've got to appreciate what they did then and what Wayne and Woody have done now. And it's monumental, and what you're looking at is the first engine, hot tube, vaporized fuel, and high speed. High speed. Lightweight, high speed. Consider yourself introduced, Wayne and Woody.